Welcome, you're watching Well Traveled Life with Jonathan and Jennifer, and we are in Stockholm, Sweden. Stockholm is one of those grand cities. Don't miss this. Sweden is made up of 220,000 islands, and Stockholm comprises 14 of those islands. So it's good to know that the best way to get around Stockholm is going to be via water ferry. There are bridges connecting many of the islands, but the water ferries are the easiest to manage and easiest to get around in. The best part of Sweden is probably coming into and leaving. So if you're coming by ship, you want to make sure you're up early or stay up late so that you can see the entrance through the archipelago and leaving the archipelago. There's a hop-on, hop-off bus and a hop-on, hop-off boat. So if you only have a day in Sweden and you're just wanting to get an overview, the bus tour will take you about an hour and 45 minutes to go through its entire route, and the boat tour will take you an additional hour. It's a good way to see the islands and see the main attraction. But I think Stockholm is one of those cities where it's imperative that you get off and do some walking. And if you can stay a while, there's lots to do in the city and worth an extra few days. So highlights that you will see will be City Hall. It's built from 8 million bricks and known for the color of its brick. Gamlestan is the medieval city center, and you'll want to make sure and take some time to walk around and see the sights on that particular island. You'll see the Nobel Museum, the Stockholm Cathedral, the Royal Palace, which has one room more than Buckingham Palace and features the changing of the guard, which is also worth waiting around to see. Salu Hall is the food market. The Ericsson Globe provides Skyview concerts and lots of events. Grönalund is the amusement park, which you can see from the port. There are different ports in Stockholm, and they're not close to each other, and your boat could dock at both. We have docked at both ports in Stockholm. One, you're right by the Marina Park Hotel, which is an amazing hotel. We've stayed there for a week at a time. It has a boat ferry station right out in front of it, and it's within walking distance to some restaurants and has some pretty pathways around it. It's also fairly close to the rest of the city, so easy to get around. is actually on the other side of the islands and is a little more remote, and you'll need either a bus, a shuttle, or a bike to get around in. There are a number of museums in Stockholm, and so many are worth seeing. Again, if you have time, stay a few days. You'll want to check out the National Museum, the Nordic Museum, the ABBA Museum, and then there are a few extra special ones. Drottingham Palace is a 45-minute drive away from the downtown area. Royals are still living there, but they've opened half of it up to tourists so that it does act as a museum. The museum I would tell you don't miss is the Vasa Museum. This is the only preserved 17th century ship in the world. It was built with an extra cannon deck and meant that it was really top heavy. And as it set out to sail, a breeze came up and literally toppled it over, and it sunk into the mud 40 minutes into its maiden voyage. 300 years it was excavated and brought back into the Vasa Museum. You can see the ship stern to bow, top to bottom, and it is magnificent. The museum is exceptionally well done and so worth a stay. If you see only one museum in Stockholm, go visit the Vasa Museum. There is also a vodka museum and an ice bar. The ice bar is like many throughout Scandinavia, but this one is right in the heart of Gamlestan, so it's easy to access. You probably want to get reservations there, especially if you're going during the summer. The entire bar is made of ice. You're given large fur capes and gloves to go in because it is kept at a temperature that will maintain the ice. You're given a drink in an ice glass, and you have about 45 minutes to walk around, take pictures, sit on the ice benches and the ice chairs, and marvel at the art that's created in the ice bar. Another unique museum is Skansen, which is an open-air museum, which includes the Stockholm Zoo. And I think that's another one worth a visit if you've got time. If you've enjoyed this video on Stockholm, make sure you see the other videos in our series, including Visby and Gothenburg.